we're going to take a look at my Predator wood chipper, and I've only used it probably a total of an hour and a half, 2 hours about a year ago. So a year later it hasn't been started yet, and I'm going to see if I can get it to start. When it was shipped, it came with no oil or gas in it. We had to put some things together, put oil and gas in it, and it started on the first pull. So that was pretty impressive. So I wonder if it's going to do that for me today. I haven't run this for a while, so I may have to figure out where the choke is and all that. There's no primer on this, so I am going to pull the rope slowly a couple of times, kind of get some gas flowing. Turn that switch on. I'm going to lock my brakes or my wheels. We'll see if it goes. Okay, so it started on the second pull. That's pretty good. It almost started on the first pull, but I don't. This here lever down here is turning the gas on and off. That's the on position. This here is your choke. This is choke off. This is choke on. I think when I was starting it, I had the throttle down too low. This is your throttle right here. This is full throttle, and that's low throttle. And I think that was my problem when I was starting it. And then over here we got a red button right there is your on and off switch. You won't get any spark if that's off, and it won't start. So you gotta remember to turn that on. Gas tank is right here. Air cleaner. Pretty simple basic thing. I got it at Harbor Freight. I think I paid about $450 for it or something like that. Again, Predator. And in a little bit that I've used it, it actually works pretty good. And a little later today, I think I'm going to get it fired up and I'll demonstrate it. take a look here and see what you got. You may have noticed my bag come undone from the bottom here, so spilling stuff out. This is what you end up with. Pretty broke up. You do get some of this sort of stuff, but then a breakdown. Now the pine needles, they didn't hardly get broke up at all, but I guess I didn't know what to expect there. But other than that, it does a pretty good job of breaking things down into compostable sizes. Here I have my bean plants and tomato plants from the garden this year at the end of the season. And I don't like wasting that stuff, so let's see how it mulches up. And then it can get put right back in the garden. My biggest complaint with this wood chipper, it's got this nice big hopper which would lead you to believe that you could, dump an armful of leaves or brush or garden plants or whatever and feed it in and grind it up. But the opening to the blades is so small that you pretty much have to feed stuff in by the handful. If you put in a big tomato plant, you got to sit there with a stick and poke it down to get it to go through because it just binds up in a small opening. This product, I'm sure they do that on purpose for safety reasons and liability reasons because they don't want people sticking their hand in there. But it's so far down that I don't see that as a danger. I think this product could have been much better if they had made that opening to the cutters much bigger, like 50 or 75% bigger. You would almost have to try really hard to get your hand in those cutters. They got it choked down so small that it's almost difficult to get this sort of thing through there. You would look at that hopper and think, oh, I could throw a big armful of leaves in there and grind that up. No, that's not going to work. It's pretty much a handful at a time. And if you get too big of a handful, there you are with a stick trying to feed it through. This would be so much better with a much bigger opening. And I am pretty certain that most of your wood chippers at this level, the consumer level, is going to have a choke down opening there too for safety purposes. So I don't think this problem is unique to this product. But having said that, once you get it fed through, it actually does a great job chipping this stuff up and breaking it down for mulch, just mixing it right in the garden, or for composting, whatever you want to do with it. It actually cuts it up pretty good. I will also say that when you chip up green stuff, as this stuff is, and it might have been better if I gave those garden plants a couple of weeks to dry out before putting them in here. But after you do green stuff, and that applies to green branches or whatever, if it's green, you're going to want to run some dry branches through the machine after you do that in order to clean the green stuff out and then the moisture off the blades and all that. So keep that in mind. I try to always keep some really dry twigs and branches on hand so that after I'm doing something like this, I can run some of that through and clean things out. But now this is the result. You saw that pile of tomato and bean plants that I had, and look at how it reduced it down to very little. Chopped up this stuff very well. I'm going to till that right into the dirt, and it'll help feed my soil. It did a very good job chopping it up. It just took longer than it really should have. It did a good job, it just took a little effort.